I looked down at my ticket thinking, okay, I'm obviously gonna have like a crappy middle seat way in the back of the plane. And I look and it says 1C business. It is Sunday, September 11th, 2022. And on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about getting upgraded to business class. Hello everybody, it really is Sunday, September 11th right now. I just left the Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady this morning, flew from Barcelona to Paris and from Paris to Hamburg. It didn't quite go as it was planned, and you may also notice something seems a little bit different about this setup here. I am back home in front of the red sofa. However, I'm holding my camera and I don't have the usual microphone that I use. The reason is my suitcase didn't come. So the tripod that I use and the external microphone that I usually use, they're in the suitcase. It's not here. I'm assuming it's coming, and I'm gonna tell you about all that in a second. If you're new here, I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very unofficial look at what it was like to be there. I'm not sponsored by any company. I go and do what I want and say how it was. And just got off a week-long cruise on the Valiant Lady. It was my second time cruising with Virgin, and it was pretty fun. You know from watching my videos, Marcus and I are not huge fans of this cruise line. That doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means it's not to our taste, and that's just an opinion-based thing. And we actually had a really good time on this cruise, and I think it's because we went into it with quite low expectations, just from our experience on our last Virgin cruise. And there were a couple highlights for us, things that were surprisingly a lot more fun or a lot tastier or things like that on this cruise. And I will be doing a video about all of those things coming up as well, probably as a Sunday Sofa Time, maybe next week. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to sit down here in front of the red sofa tonight before I do anything else to tell you what happened on the way home. We were flying from Barcelona to Charles de Gaulle, had 1 hour layover to fly then from Charles de Gaulle back to Hamburg. And I was pretty impressed with the way our travels were going. The Hamburg airport was extremely noticeably calmer and more organized than last time I flew. The last time I flew in Hamburg and Amsterdam, and did I visit other airports on that trip? Minneapolis. It was just, it was so awful that I vowed I wasn't gonna fly again this year at all. But then this cruise opportunity came up and I broke my promise to myself. You know how that happens. So while we were waiting to board the flight in Barcelona, I recorded a YouTube short. I also posted it to my Instagram story talking about how things seem to be getting back to normal, just sort of an update after I had made that video about how chaotic and horrible airports were. This is the video that I recorded. Hello from the Barcelona airport. I am on my way home from our Virgin Voyages cruise. We're flying from Barcelona to Paris and then Paris to Hamburg. That's the same way that we flew to begin the cruise. And I just wanted to give you a little update about the situations in airports, at least here in Europe. The last time that I flew through European airports a couple months ago, it was horrible. I hated it. So many things were stressful about it. Everything was full. There weren't enough people working. The lines took way too long. And I actually, at that time, I vowed I didn't want to fly again this year at all. But this cruise opportunity came up, so I decided to go for it. And I have to say, at least in the Hamburg and the Paris and the Barcelona airport, things seem to be a little bit closer back to just normal flying stress, and it's not as crazy stressful and crazy full as it was a couple months ago. I just want to let you know. I guess I just spoke too soon because right after I recorded that video, our flight got delayed just like a half an hour, and then it got delayed 45 minutes, and then it got delayed an hour. So obviously we weren't making our connection because we only had an hour to connect in Charles de Gaulle, which with that airport, I mean, I know that airport also has a bad reputation, but the problems with Charles de Gaulle, I think, all have to do with the like the outside of it, like getting to the airport, checking in, and then getting into the actual terminals. Once you're inside the terminals, especially if you're just transferring from like an inner European flight, I haven't had any horrible experiences there related to that. So I wasn't worried about the hour. I knew, things had to go correctly for it to work. And of course, this did not go correctly. As we were actually sitting in the airplane waiting to leave Barcelona, we got a message in the Air France app saying you're not going to make your connection, but it's okay. We rebooked you. And they rebooked us on a flight that was almost 6 hours later. Obviously didn't have to worry about making the connection anymore, but
6 hours later?
And it is what it is. We just accepted that, and then we flew to Paris. And here's where it gets interesting, and I'm going to tell you about it right after this commercial break. Did you get one? What was it about? Write it in the comments below if you wanna. We arrived in Paris like an hour and maybe 5 minutes later than we were supposed to. And we noticed on the display, like where all the flights are listed and where all the gates are listed, that our original flight, the one that we were supposed to be on, that we were gonna miss, and so they automatically rebooked us on this flight later. That flight, our original flight, hadn't left yet because it was also delayed. So we thought, jackpot, let's just go there and see if they'll still let us on. We did that. We went there, waited in the line to check in. They scanned our tickets. It came up red. They explained to us, unfortunately, you've already been rebooked to another flight. We explained to him the situation. Yeah, we were rebooked because they said we weren't going to make this flight, but here we are. So he said, okay, just go take a seat. We're going to get all these people on the plane. It is a very full flight, but if we have any extra seats, then we'll let you know at the end. And otherwise, unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with the rebooking and maybe just wait for that next flight. We sat down, we waited for everybody to get on board, and then the gate representative came over to us and he said, okay, good news and bad news. We still have one seat available because of your status, Mr. O'Brien. We can offer you this seat if you want. We can also offer it to Marcus. You two have to decide then if one of you would like to fly on this flight or if you would just like to wait and fly together. And Marcus was very nice about it. He said, you know what, Morgan, you just go home, you do it. You can, get some work done tonight. And so that was a decision we made. So Marcus is actually still in Paris right now as I'm recording this. And by the way, all that he got from the gate agent or from the transfer desk for a 6-hour delay was an 18 euro certificate. So I think we're actually entitled to more than that because it was delayed 6 hours, but I'm not sure. I'm sure he did the research. He'll be able to tell me when he gets home. But they told me, okay, well then you come with, we have to do this quickly. And went back up to the gate and they were scanning my original boarding pass and trying to print something out and it wouldn't print and scanning it again and the screen came up red. Made a couple phone calls, all in French. I didn't understand what was being said. Then it was transferred to a female gate agent. She took over. She got it to work, gave me the boarding pass. I was the last person on the bus. And then the bus, I got into the bus, the doors closed, and we drove over to the airplane. As we're sitting, or as I'm standing in the bus, I look down at my ticket thinking, okay, I'm obviously gonna have a crappy middle seat way in the back of the plane. And I look and it says 1C business. And I thought, what? 1C business? I mean, row 1 is the first row in the plane, and C is probably the aisle or a window, and business means business. So I thought, okay, this can't be happening. I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna walk up the stairs into the airplane, they're gonna ask to see my ticket, and then they're gonna say, oh yes, the gate agent told us about you, please follow us, and then they're gonna put me at the door. They're going to seat me at the seat right across from the bathroom that's overflowing or something like that. I thought there's no way this is going to end in a happy story, but I actually was seated in business class in the first row in like the aisle seat right at the entrance to the plane. And first of all, it was weird because all the other people in business class were already sitting there. Like every seat in business class was filled except this one seat. I showed up with the riffraff and then sat down there, and I did feel a couple eyes on me, but that might have been my paranoia, and I'll get to that again in a second. And it was that seat actually is not a good seat to be seated in when everybody else is coming into the plane, because people kept bumping me in the face and in the shoulder with their bags because of the way you come around the corner, into the plane. So if you ever get booked into that seat, be the last person to get into the plane, not the first person, because otherwise you're going to get like 300 people's backpacks
in your face.
I was also assuming then, after I had accepted this wonderful thing that I had got updated or upgraded to business class, I had also kind of accepted, all right, but they're not going to give me everything that the business class people get, because I didn't really pay for business class, and I'm not supposed to be here, you know what I mean? I do have a certain status with Air France and KLM, but it doesn't usually lead to me getting booked in business class. If it did, you all would know that, of course, but it doesn't, so I don't talk about it. When it was time for the food to be served, and the flight was, I think, 1 hour and 10 minutes from Paris to Hamburg, I did get the full business class meal on real, like, ceramic plates with real silverware. And it was some kind of, I don't know if it was bulgur or couscous or quinoa. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me how to say that right. You know what I'm talking about. And it was with like finely shaved carrots and roasted vegetables on top with mozzarella balls. And it had some kind of like an orange sauce on it, a very light, delicate orange sauce on it. It did come with 2 pieces of very stinky cheese. I had my selection of wines or champagne. The dessert was a very hefty, very thick and chocolatey, like cake or brownie or souffle. I don't know. It was amazing. It was so chocolatey and rich that I couldn't finish it. And then I also got a sparkling water with a very finely, thinly sliced bit of lemon. So that was amazing. That was probably, sorry to say this, but including every meal I had on Virgin Voyages, that's probably in my top 3 since I left Hamburg like a week and 2 days ago. So that kind of tells you a little bit about the way I felt about the food on Virgin Voyages this time. Doesn't mean it was awful, just a lot of the same thing and not a lot of highlights, at least for me. And I know Marcus would agree because we talked about it every night. And like I said, I'll be talking more about that when the time comes. Okay, this is one weird thing that happened to me. I was wearing what I'm wearing now, which is my Duck Duck Grey Duck t-shirt and some gray shorts with, I'm wearing shorts in first class. I realized, okay, I'm actually the only person wearing shorts here it's actually business class, not first class. And I started to get kind of paranoid and uncomfortable. I think people call it imposter syndrome, where you just think, is this really happening? Am I supposed to be here? And what is everybody else around me thinking? I started thinking too much about what the other people might be thinking about me, which is never a good idea. And I just assumed that they were all looking at me thinking that, I don't know, I somehow conned my way into business class. And so I thought, what can I do to sort of prove that I am allowed to be here? And I took out my laptop and plugged in my hard drive, and I just started editing because I figured, all right, anybody who's staring at me wondering what this guy in shorts and a t-shirt is doing in like the first seat of the first row in business class, they're going to see me editing these videos and be like, okay, this is somebody who travels a lot. He's okay to be here. And like I said, it was all in my head anyways. There's probably nobody who even really cared what I was doing there, but I don't know. I experienced a moment of slight paranoia in business class. And what I'm wondering now is if they're going to give me the same amount of miles that you get when you fly business class, because that's a lot, even if it was just a short flight. And another sort of spoiler alert, if you're following my Instagram story, my suitcase did not make it. I'm sure that it's coming on the flight that Marcus is going to be on. Hopefully that's going to happen, because I know they're not going to have scanned my ticket, so maybe it's not going to make it onto that flight. This is something I learned, by the way. And also, by the way, I realize I've been talking nonstop. I've been talking very fast in this video. It's kind of different for me. I don't usually do Sunday sofa times like in one big take. I usually make a lot of pauses, but I don't know. It's just all flowing out of me tonight. I think it's because I'm just so happy to be home. Anyways, something I learned is if your bag doesn't make it, you don't necessarily have to wait at the counter to fill out a claim for your missing bag. Check with your airline and check with the airport, because many airlines and airports let you do it online, and they encourage you to do it online. And that's how I did it as well. Now I'm curious to see, I told Marcus to look for my bag when he arrives, and if it's there, that he should just take it. And then of course I will contact the airline and tell them, look, it's all taken care of. It would be very wrong of me to get all my stuff back and then still claim that my bag was missing and like get compensation. I'm not that kind of person. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But I'm happy to be home, and I got this first class experience. The food was amazing. I didn't really get any of the other things that make traveling with first class so great, or business class, excuse me. Because of my status, I always get to go in the shorter check-in line anyways, if there is a shorter check-in line, and that hasn't always been the case in the last like half a year. Also shorter security line if there is a shorter security line. So those are kind of things that business class people also get. Also, if you book business class, you usually get to check in more bags, but because I didn't have any extra bags anyways, and the business class thing happened after the fact, so I didn't get to enjoy that either. Will I be traveling in business class more often? Very likely not, just because for that amount of money, I would just rather do more flights in economy class, and my travel budget isn't actually that big, and I don't actually have that many miles. So I'd rather use the means that I have through miles and travel budget to just do more trips than to do one trip flying business class. It's kind of like cruising, you know? I would rather do more trips on cruises that are affordable than just like one trip in a big suite on like insert name of luxury cruise here. How about Disney? Like Disney. All right, everybody, I'm gonna wrap this up. I wanna get this video online. Marcus will hopefully be here in like 2.5 hours. I'm going to check my phone to see if he did take off. Thank you for checking in here on Sunday. I'm sorry the video is a little bit late, but hey, it's still Sunday here. So I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I will see you soon.